say, we want money. Who knows what a liability is?
Our assets were $416,000.
Have you ever said to yourself, I wish I had known then what I know now? Well, this is your chance to not only learn now, but also to involve young people, your children, nieces, nephews, grandchildren, in learning everything they need to know about money. So up next on the FinFest series is Shanisha Dixon-Tyrell, who is a financial educator for young people. She's the best. Listen to her.
My name is Shanisha Dixon-Tyrell, your financial coach. Today we're going to talk about money. So I'm excited to talk to you all about money today. On today's agenda, we have what is money? What are wants versus needs? Assets versus liabilities? Turning liabilities into assets, and what is your net worth? So before we get into what's assets and what's liabilities, let's talk about what is money. So money is a currency used to purchase goods or services that you may need or want. So what do we use money for? Why is it important? Well, it's important because we use it to pay for goods. We use it to pay for services. It's how people make money. And we use it to buy goods or services that can help us generate more money. And we like more money, right? So we want to understand, and what we're going to learn today is how to use our money to make us more money. And that'll take us right into the assets and liabilities. Before we get there, you need to understand something else. There are two main components to how we spend our money. So we spend our money in two categories, your wants and your needs. So what are your wants? What are your needs? Well, your wants are things that we desire. And we do not require it to live. We don't require it to survive. Things that are our wants are things like candy, games, the latest sneakers, iPads, iPhones. Those are the things that we want. But we can really live without those. Well, Shanisha, you said sneakers. I said the latest sneakers. See, needs are things that we require. And those are necessary to survive, to live. So those are food, water, clothes, shelter, sneakers, just footwear to cover your feet. Those things are important for us to understand so that we know how to prioritize when making the decision to purchase goods. So now we're going to talk about assets versus liabilities. So assets are things that add value to us. In this case, the value is money. And when we're thinking about assets, we want to ask ourselves, is this something that I own? Is this something that can bring me money later? So that is an asset. And then liabilities are things that take away value. So for example, something you owe, if you have to pay it back, then that is a liability. It's taking away from you. It is important for us to understand the difference because it will help us make better decisions. So let's look at what an asset is versus a liability. So asset, you have things like real estate, which is like owning a home, stock investments, where that's ownership of someone else's company. And then you have your bank accounts. The reason why your bank account is an asset is because you're constantly growing money there. And so it's growing in value. Then you have your liabilities. Your liabilities are things like taxes, because you have to pay the government. Cars, because the car loses value as soon as you drive it off the lot. Loans, because it's not your money, you have to pay it back. And then credit cards, because that's also not your money that you have to pay back. So often we hear assets versus liabilities, and we hear people telling us, oh, don't buy this because this is bad, don't do this because it's bad. So for example, someone may say, buying sneakers is a liability. Well, I got a trick for you. Did you know you can turn a liability into an asset? Here's how you can do so. Remember, an asset is something that brings value to us. So if I purchase a sneaker and it is a rare collector's sneaker, and I go and sell this sneaker for more than I paid for it, it now is a liability that became an asset because it brought me back more money. And then we have items like cars. Yes, some cars are rare and collectibles, and so they just always have a value to it. But most cars are depreciating in value, meaning it goes down in value. As soon as you drive it off the lot, it is no longer worth the same amount of money. So for example, you paid $40,000 for it, you drove down the block, it is now worth $35,000, which is $5,000 less than what you paid for it. So how do we turn an item like a car into an asset? It was a liability. How do we do that? Here's how we do it. You would find a way for the car to bring you income. So for example, you have Uber delivery driving, maybe chauffeuring people around, maybe doing like a bus company, right? Where you drive around, pick up people and you drive them around. You are taking your liability and now you're turning it into an asset. So turning liabilities into asset is a very real thing. And so when it comes down to assets and liabilities, it's not all this is definitely an asset, this is definitely a liability. It's more so, where's the value that I can get from this item? So here's how you increase your assets. You earn and save more money. You invest your money. You invest in your education. So when I say invest, what I mean is you put time, effort, money into something to get a return from it. Okay? It is supposed to bring you a return. So you earn and save your money, you work for it, and then you save it, you put it in a bank. You invest your money, you put it in a place that is going to bring you a higher return. For example, like the stock market. You invest in your education. The more wisdom you have, the better the decisions you can make. And that will also bring you more information that you can go out and use to make better purchases so that that item can now bring you a return on your money. And you have to have clear goals and be disciplined. If you do not have clear goals, you don't even know why you're investing your money, why you're saving. It is important to understand what your goals are so that this way you know your target. You know, okay, I am buying these sneakers or taking these sneakers that my parents bought me. And now that my parents bought me these sneakers, I wore them a few times, but they're still really good. How can I utilize this to make me more money? Now I go sell them, with my parents' permission, of course. I go sell them to someone who may find more value in them. And now we get the money back, right? And I'm doing this why? Because my end goal is maybe I want to buy my mom a Christmas gift. Maybe I want to buy my dad a birthday gift, right? Just understand why you're making this decision to even invest in the first place. Then you want to be disciplined with your goals. If you said that you were going to achieve saving $60, work towards it. So how do we decrease our liabilities? We do not want to have a whole bunch of liabilities. That means that we don't really have the money that we think that we have. So we want to avoid borrowing money. If you can't afford to buy it, then you don't buy it. Simple enough. So for example, you may say to your parent, I want something from the store. Can I borrow $5? If you don't have the $5 at home and you know that you may have to work for it to get the money, you don't want to do that because you don't already have it. So let's avoid borrowing money. You want to pay off your debts. If you say that you are going to borrow money, if you have credit card debts, if you have a loan, you want to make sure that you're paying that back. You don't want to hold on to the debt because one, it's not really nice to owe people money. Two, you don't want to have a liability. And then lastly, you want to monetize your liability. For example, again, if you have sneakers and you want to resell them, you're not really wearing them anymore, they're still in good condition, someone wants to buy them, that's monetizing your liability. Here's why understanding assets and liability is important. It will help you understand what is your net worth. So first things first, what is net worth? Miss Shanisha, help me understand. Your net worth is the total value of money you have after you've paid off all your debt. So here's the formula to find what your net worth is. You have assets minus your liabilities equals your net worth. Assets minus your liabilities equals your net worth. Here's an activity that I want you to do right now at home. Grab a pen, grab a paper. I want you to use the formula that we just went through. Assets minus liabilities equals your net worth. I want you to calculate your net worth. So you may say, hey, I'm just a kid. Kids make money too, right? Or let's do it with your parents. This is a group exercise. So I want you to use the formula to find your net worth and ask yourself, are you happy with that number? So what are your assets? What is the total value of your assets? So you may say, well, my bank account, my piggy bank only has $20 in it. Okay. Your liability. You may say, well, I don't have any liabilities. I don't owe anybody. Or you may have said, well, I did borrow $5 last week to go to the store. So now you need to do 20, take away 5 to find out what's your total net worth. How much money do you really have? And that'll give you $15 for that example. So now you have $15. That's your total net worth. Ask yourself, are you happy with that number? Is it in alignment with what your goals are? You said you wanted $60. So is $15 60? No, but it's on track. So what can we do to make sure that we get to our goal? So today we talked about what is money, our wants versus our needs, our assets versus our liabilities, turning liabilities into assets. We like that. And what is your net worth?
I've been involved in motivating and teaching people about money for the last 20 years. And every place I've gone, people have asked the question, what does Dfree have for children? Well, we now have the answer. And the answer is Shanisha Dixon-Tyrell, a financial coach who has written a wonderful book for children about money. And she zooms right in on some very important subjects like the cost of sneakers, about what cars do after you buy them, and how to separate your wants from your needs. Listen, that alone is worth listening to from our speaker. So thank you to Shanisha, who is now a new member of our team, and she's helping us impact the country with a focus on young people.